Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our All the Mods series. This week we did something a little different. We missed last week with the videos because it just moving in has taken up a little bit too much of my time, and I wasn't able to get anything done to get up. But this week I want to show you the changes we made during the stream. This week we decided to switch to All the Mods 9 to the sky. So we started over with the pack just to get to where we were, and phantoms are coming to get me. And we started off on this little cozy island, starter island, and we have done some grinding to get us to the point where we have resources again, kind of get us to where we were in All the Mods 9. We switched because the pack was just running not so great already on my PC, and I didn't really want to go through all the process of tweaking it to make it work better when I knew it was just going to get worse as we go on. This pack's a lot lighter, a lot less mods, but it's still the same basic core of All the Mods 9. And it's the most up-to-date version of the All the Mods pack. And I kind of just really wanted to play it too, so it all worked out. But what we did when we got here, we started off just by farming some trees, and this island is pretty much how the starter island started with the way we picked it. I just wanted something to work in while we were there. The nice thing is that I'm able to even run shaders and still get a really consistent FPS. Later in the series, we may have to slow that down and go back to the normal vanilla look if things start to get choppy, but right now we're okay. So let me just show you some of the things we did. We made a basement underneath here just so that we had some place to work, and we collected a bunch of resources, and we started off by getting into power. So we did a little bit of grinding until we had enough clay and bone meal to make these porcelain crucibles. So these are taking cobblestone out of a cobblestone generator tier 3, which is generating cobblestone for us really fast. And it's feeding all of these porcelain crucibles. I got to the point where I had enough things to make superheating elements. The superheating elements from Mekanism are one of the heat sources for these crucibles that goes at 60 times speed. So these turn cobblestone into lava really quick. And then I have this piping system here that comes down and puts it into a jumbo tank, and we store up a bunch of lava. For power, I take that lava and I put it into these magmatic dynamos that I've been adding as I need to. Eventually, we can also upgrade these to with augmentations and things like that. But for now, they're running fine. We can just keep adding more of them to the system when we need a little bit more power, because we probably will not use lava power for super long, but I wanted something sustainable that was easy to do and also modular. So this, if we keep adding dynamos, it'll get us more power. If we start to run low on lava, I can add more crucibles. And if we start running low on lava after that, or once we add the more crucibles, and the lava catches up, if we run out of cobblestone, I can upgrade the cobblestone generator to provide more cobblestone. So it's all modular. We can make it bigger and bigger to a certain extent. I mean, frankly, I could make it massive and it would give us power forever, but, you know, we'll eventually get into power sources that are more efficient than that. The next thing we worked on after that during the stream was setting up some resource generation. So originally we were just sifting through these sieves, and there's 16 of them here. And so we could take resources like dust, and then we could just run them through and they would give us resources which we would collect together, and it helped us to get the things that we needed. Of course, my inventory is going to be full, so it's going to be a pain to get everything picked back up. But you can see why we quickly wanted to get out of doing the manual processing of ores, because it's just a mess. Things everywhere. Let me put some of this stuff away, get us some extra space in our inventory while we're going around here. There we go. Okay, and then the first step in automating things was we created a mechanical hammer and a mechanical sieve, and we slowly have upgraded the meshes in these to go faster. or to give us better resources, I should say. And we have increases of power. These you can actually put a hammer in to make them go more efficiently, but I'm just looking for slow resource generation at this point. Later on, I might find a way to automate hammer creation so that we can double the speed and even use some efficiency chance and whatnot to make these go better. Excuse me. To make these go even faster. But for now, we have a steady supply of gravel. And then this one, we have cobblestone being turned into gravel and gravel being turned into sand. So we have sand going through. And this one, we have cobblestone getting processed into gravel, which is getting processed into sand, which is getting processed into dust. And so we're going dust through. And that gives us all of our different resources, which all end up in this spruce diamond barrel that we made. It has some upgrades in it, so it can hold a bunch of stuff. Each of these slots can hold 16,000 items. Just this morning, I added in this logistical sorter just to figure out how it works. So this is just pulling out anything that is an ore chunk and putting it over into this barrel. And the reason for that is we're going to process these ore chunks down into ingots. The next thing we worked on after we got this running to give us some resources is we used some of those resources to get started doing some things with Mekanism. And so Mekanism is pretty complicated, lots of stuff going on, but we started with an enrichment chamber and a metallurgic infuser to provide us with the things we needed. And we worked our way through to make this machine here. And this is the first part of our ore processing facility. And so let me try to go through and explain all the steps here pretty quickly. So we have water that comes up. Water goes into our electrolytic separator and into our rotary condensator. This one processes water into hydrogen and oxygen. This one processes water into water vapor. The next machine here is an infuser. So this is using the oxygen from here and the sulfur dioxide, which we'll get to in just a second, and creating sulfur trioxide. And the sulfur trioxide is mixing with the water vapor to create sulfuric acid. So we also made a pulverizer from Mekanism, because what we're doing is we're taking sulfur, which we have in here. We have a bunch because we've been letting this thing run for a while we work. And we can just pulverize it down. The sulfur gets put in here. And then through all those other machines, you can see we get the sulfur dioxide goes in here. Oh, this is empty because... Why is this not running? Oh, it is running, I think. It's using it up as fast as it comes, maybe? No, it's not. Not enough energy to operate. Oh, I do not have power connected to this machine. I turned it off for some reason. There we go. Hold on. Electrolytic separator. Energy from the back input. Might have disabled it while I was working on the pump and just forgot about it. Now it has enough energy to operate, which means this should be making oxygen. Yes, and now this is pumping, and it is pumping the sulfur trioxide into here, which is now making more sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid is going to be used in a chemical dissolution chamber. Or no, I'm sorry, it's... yeah, that's right. It's going to be used in a chemical dissolution chamber to process ores. Let me just find a basic ore to show you. So if we put in a regular ore here with sulfuric acid, we get this dirty osmium slurry. So we still need to build this, but then basically one ore becomes 1,000 millibuckets of dirty ore slurry. That is then combined with water in a washer, which gets us clean ore slurry to 1-to-1 rate. So we have 1 bucket per ore. For this, we do a chemical crystallizer. So then we get, for every 200 millibuckets, we get 1 of these. So for 1 ore, we now have 5 crystals. We use hydrogen chloride to further process it. It turns down to shards, so we get 5 shards per ore. And the purification chamber takes another step, and we get down to 5 clumps. Crusher crushes it into dirty osmium dust. Enrichment chamber then enriches it into dust. And so we end up with 5 dust per ore. So instead of us having just 1 ore per each ore that we make. So each of these makes 1 ore. If we process the ore normally, we get 1 raw ore, which we can then cook and get in 1 ingot. We'll get 5 for each of them, for all of these different types of metals. We still need to finish this setup. This is running low on power. Why are you running low on power? You have plenty of power coming in, don't you? Those are the things we need to figure out and tweak out. That's why we're building this down here, so we can test everything and figure out all the things we need before we start moving this to our new location for it. But we have everything here for that. But so we need to get the sulfuric acid processing through everything else, which means we need to make the hydrogen chloride. And hydrogen chloride is made by fusing hydrogen and chloride. Hydrogen we are already making in our other system back here, so we can use that. And we combine it with the chlorine, which is made in an electrolytic separator by taking brine, which is made in this thermal evaporation controller, which is part of a system that is in here. I think it's on this, no, it's on this page here. Here. It is part of this system that we're going to have to build. So basically we need to collect brine from water with a big system we still need to build. But once we have that built and we build the rest of this system, we'll be able to just basically take the ore chunks from here, we'll process them into ore, we'll process them down through all the steps, and then we will have that ore turn into 5 ingots for each one instead of just the 1. And right now we're using the hammer, the ore hammer, this here. So if right now our process is we take ore chunks and we turn it into an ore, and then we take that ore and we use a hammer to double it, which might not work with tin ore, maybe not. Of course, I picked the one ore that doesn't allow us to do that. Let's do it with iron, just to demonstrate it. Why is this not allowing me to do things? Oh, I'm just skipping a step. You take this and we process it down this way. And then, because we need a raw ore. It does work with both of them. I just was being silly. So you just do this, and then we double it. So all the ores can get doubled. So basically, this whole complex system we're doing is to make it so that we have a system where instead of using the ore hammer, which is manual, we could automate it, but it's manual, and it also uses up metal to make the hammers. Just to get it doubled, we'll be able to make this system, which will be eventually self-sustaining, and all we do is drop the metal in and we get 5 times out. So we can really, really boost the amount of resources we get. So the next thing we're gonna do, oh, let me show you one other thing before we get to that. This system over here is one I just started designing. This uses witch water and sand. So we put sand in here. We have water that gets pumped up into these barrels that are sitting on top of mycelium. And then they are turning water very quickly into witch water. And you can see as the sand is dropped into a bucket or a barrel of witch water, it turns into soul sand. And the reason that we want the soul sand is because the soul sand will get processed through a sieve, just like this. And for now, we're just doing it manually, like what we started. And we get a whole bunch of resources out of it. So we get quartz, we get gas tiers, we get glowstone, we get some bones, and we get some gas tiers. So all of those things are really useful, but we also want to automate them. We also get the warped nylium spores. So all those things come from the soul sand. Eventually what we want to do is set up this system so that we have a cobblestone generator and hammer system that creates the sand for this, and it feeds sand in and it gets soul sand out, and then we will feed soul sand directly into one of these mechanical sieves, which will provide us with all those resources automatically. So in the end, our goal is to start from nothing except for cobblestone generators, and then process everything to provide us all the resources we get from gravel, sand, dust, and soul sand, and then also process those down further to get us the raw resources we need to build the rest of our world. We want to take all of this and kind of fit it into a factory so that it is nice and neat and convenient. The other thing I'm thinking that I want to do is I want to keep this center island as my starter place. And so I want to have like storage and stuff built into this place as I change it around. And so I think I'm going to run a bridge off the side of here so that we can have piping that goes through that doesn't look terrible, and we'll build a bridge off and start a new island over there for our factory. And so it's going to take us some time to get that all figured out and get built. And I want to do some more steps before that to get some automation going to automate the building of that. But we're going to be working today to finish up getting all of these things working. And then after it's all working, we're going to figure out how to put it all inside of a big building that we build that is an ore factory, to provide us with all of these resources. What I have decided to do is build an island over here that is just made out of stone, that is going to be my like work area to design new things. And so I do eventually want to build like a massive factory that has all kinds of bells and whistles and tanks that hold different fluids and just make it look really cool, not just functional, but also pretty interesting looking. But for now, I just need to have somewhere where I can start figuring out how to make everything work. And I thought if I just do that here and get started on it, then I can move things from here, and I can use this pad later on to design new things as well. And so I'm just I decided I want to make it about 40 blocks across. Actually, I made this 47 blocks across. And so now I'm just kind of freehanding a circle design to finish up the edges, which is not my specialty, but I'm giving it a go. Oh, I broke my builder's wand. I'll have to go make a new one. So I think I'm just going to do it like this and see how that corner looks. I'm just trimming it out with a stone brick. I think that if I look on the map, let's go stand off to the side and see. I think that looks pretty good. And I think if I continue those out from there to the other sides, I'll be able to do it. Down the road, I want to be able to do things like using the builder to do like bigger structures, like without having to place everything. But I need to get to ender pearls, which means I need to build mob farming and stuff like that. I just don't have it yet. So we'll get there. But for now, we're just going to build this platform using some freehand circles, and we'll make a basement underneath it so that we can do wiring underneath and just come up with our design of how we're going to do everything. So this was 5, and then I did 3, and then I did 2. Let's put a torch here. And then from this other side, we'll do the same thing and see if they line up how I am thinking. And that's pretty much how I'm going about just designing the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, and then 2. Torch there, and then it's going to be 1 all the way through to the other side here. Missed one, but I would have had enough to do it. So basically, when I try to design a circle freehand, you figure out the diameter of the circle, which in this case is 47, and then I divide that number by 4, which gives me well, it gives me 11, but it gives me 12 basically. And then I make the far sides of each part of the circle that number -1 to make it an odd number, or plus, +1, -1, whatever, to get it to be about right. So basically you want this edge to be 1/4 of the diameter of that. And then from here, I do, this first one is about half -1 of this, so that is also an odd number. And then this is the same with this. So if this is 5, then this is 3, and then 2, and then 1, and it ends up being okay. This gets more complicated for bigger circles and for smaller circles, but that's basically the idea of how to freehand circle in Minecraft. It doesn't come out perfect, but that looks pretty much like a circle on that map over there. I have some more stone cooking up. I'm going to drop some more off while I'm down here too. Let's see, stone. So let's take this and get some more cool pieces and drop some more in. And we may as well grab a little bit more cobblestone. I'm going to drop the rest of this coal off. Miscellaneous bits and bobs in my inventory. And then now I can take this and get myself some more stone brick to finish up here. And so basically all I'm going to do is finish off this circle. I'm going to finish off a circle underneath it, and then I'm going to take the systems that I have built and slowly move them up here and space them out a little bit, because down underneath they're pretty tight as far as trying to cram everything in. And up here I want to space them out a little more, because in the end, when I build this ore factory that I'm building, I'm not going to have it be super efficient as far as space goes, like I have kind of downstairs. I want to make it so that there's room for expansion. So if I want, like, let's say I have the system set up to make the sulfuric acid, and I decide that I don't have quite enough sulfuric acid to keep up with the system that I have, then I want to be able to just go in and expand that section to produce more. And the same with like lava or with water or anything. And then I'm going to use the create tanks to build massive storage tanks so that we can have big storage of the stuff. And is that necessary? No. Is it going to look cooler? Absolutely. So that's our plan. But to get started, I just need to get things laid out so I can work out all the details of like how much space I need to run this to that and things like that. And also, I don't really want to build the big island until I have some more things set up to automate it, so that I can do it without having to do it all by hand like this. Because building an island that's going to be even bigger than this, all by hand, is going to be a real sort of pain in the tuchus, as it were. So let me finish this island up here, and then I'll bring some things up here so that we can see them working together a little better. And hopefully I'll get the brine finished as well, so that we can get some ore processing going before the end of this episode. Forgot to mention something in the last clip. I got a trade from a wandering trader that gave me, for a diamond axe and 64 emeralds, which I got from the system we built to farm resources. I got this bone splitter axe, which is sharpness 10, mending, scavenger 2, capturing 2, looting 5, unbreaking 3, which is a really great axe for like processing my cows and things like that. And I'm going to use it instead of this axe. So I just wanted to show it to you. I got this whole thing built out, and the circle came out to be more like kind of like an oblong square, like a rounded square. And that's what I wanted. I want maximum space, but I want it to kind of be a little rounded off to give us not just a big floating square. Do something a little bit fancier. If I wanted to make this an actual circle, I'd have to do these steps a little more gradual, but this is what I wanted. So we're good here. I have built out our platform. I started working on the basement underneath. I didn't finish that all out. I will do that before the next stream, but I decided what I want to do instead of moving everything up here off camera in this episode and getting things placed. I think I'm going to save that to do during the streams this week, and we'll get the on the stream on Tuesday and Thursday. We will work on getting the entire factory worked out so that we can know all the placement and about how much size we're going to need. And I think I'm also going to try to focus on getting our mob grinding system that we had built in the first 2 episodes of the All the Mods 9 full pack series, get that set up again to get it back to the point where we have some mob drops coming in automatically. And then I can use the ender pearls we get from that to set up a builder, which means that we can build an actual island using some of the tools from that and make a really big factory. I want to make it look, you know, more like a, you know, interesting building rather than just make it work efficiently. And so we're going to do that together probably during this. I'm hoping to get all that done during this week if I can find the time to get enough streams to do it. But that's going to be our next project. I want to have it to the point where we not only have ores processing through all these machinery, but make them look pretty interesting and start branching out into mob farming and also a little bit into create, because I want to be able to make some create tanks, because I think that the tanks from create are the coolest way to store fluids and things like that. And I want to start using those in the factory, which will also be nice because I can set up a little tree farm, which I've been wanting to do. A bunch of things on the agenda coming up, but for now, this is going to be where we call it. We have some ores that are still coming in. We can AFK and get more of them. And during the streams, we will use those resources to build a massive factory that provides us with all the resources that we need. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you later this week. Bye-bye.